What's up guys, Chad here with Tech in the Wild. Today we're going to be checking out the Yarbo Smart Yard system, with emphasis on the Yarbo Mower Pro. I'll walk through the unboxing, some tips to protect it, show the quick setup, then see how it does with my lawn and my field while it's mowing. I'll also talk about how it compares with the standard mower model, and then introduce Yarbo and some of the other modules they have to offer. There's plenty to discuss. Let's get into it. We're in the sweet spot in the age of technology. We're finally in a place where technology is doing amazing things for us, but it hasn't quite taken us over yet. I'm going to do two parts to this video. The first will be to showcase the new Mower Pro. For those that already have the basic mower and are curious about upgrading, and also for those that know nothing about Yarbo and are just curious what they have to offer. The second half will be more focused on Yarbo itself, who they are, what their product lineup looks like, and how their customer service has been for me. I got my Yarbo core and the 2024 mower module earlier this year, about right when mowing season started. For those that don't know much about Yarbo, here's a 30-second crash course on how it works. You have the data center, which connects to your internet service provider or router. This usually installs high up, like on a roof, and it also has a GPS antenna on it. This communicates with the Yarbo core unit down on the ground via their Halo network. Think long-range Wi-Fi. The core also has its own GPS. Combining with the data center, it makes for a very accurate GPS location to ensure it stays where it needs to. It also comes with a docking station to provide a high-powered wireless charge for the core unit.
Ready to charge.
Anyways, back to the basic mower module. It has less power in the cutting motors than the Pro, and only offers the razor blade cutting discs, so you can imagine the maintenance on that is pretty frequent. I was constantly cleaning cuttings out and changing the blades. It did okay as long as I was able to run a section every week and keep the vegetation low. But once the growing really took off, I noticed a huge reduction in the mow quality. It just couldn't keep up. So when Yarbo announced the Mower Pro and advertised it with dual 300-watt motors, double the power of the original, and actual mulching blades, I knew I had to have it for my yard. So let's get into the unboxing of the Mower Pro and then see what it can do. The Mower Pro comes with a clean, modern design that has upgraded sensors and a more powerful cutting system. Alright, this thing's going to see a lot of weather, so I've got some Adams polishes, graphene ceramic coating. So I'm going to put some of this on there, a couple coats of this. That'll help keep it weatherproof. Now, you don't need to do this, but I saw a lot of folks on Facebook putting ceramic coating on their core and their mower module. This ceramic coating cost about 20 bucks, so I figured can't hurt, and there's plenty in the bottle to do all kinds of other projects. I'm just basically trying to get this on every surface point I can. This will just add a small layer of protection for rain and dust. I did it on my original Yarbo, and when it gets real dirty from grass, dirt, rain, whatever, just wash it off with a water hose real quick, and for the most part it just washes right off. I think it's good to do at least a couple coats so that, number one, if you missed a spot somewhere, you'll make sure you get at least a little bit of coverage, but obviously 2 coats is better protection. Do you want to help? So here's everything else that comes in the box. We've got the mower modular stand, so when you need to stand it up to change the blades, you just rest the side onto this. Looks like we got spare cutting blades, cutting bolts, cutting disc bolts, Phillips screwdriver, the user manual. These are the straight blades. So the Yarbo Lawnmower Pro comes pre-installed with the smaller razor blades. The biggest reason I bought this was for the straight blades, so we'll go ahead and switch these out. We'll keep going here. Got the screw protection cover, I'm guessing for the straight blades, and then some straight blade spare bolts. And then where the mower module connects to the core, this is the rubber boot to protect in between. So now we're gonna get these razor blade discs off and get that straight blade put on. If you're not gonna wear gloves, using that regular Allen wrench, it just feels like moving that around, I'm gonna end up cutting my finger. So I'm gonna switch to a bit here and I think it'll be a little easier to get these out. All right, let's get the straight blades on. You can see, or maybe you can't, but it says right here, this side facing the grass, and then each one has a left and a right. This one had the R on it, if you notice that. And I'll confirm that this other one has an L for left. So you can see that there. Got the L, this side facing the grass, so that cover just covered the R on this other one. Alright, that's pretty much it. We'll get it outside and get it hooked up to the core unit and see what it can do. The install was pretty straightforward. Just plug it in, and connect it to the core by locking these latches down. Since I already had my basic mower set up, most of the settings stayed for the Pro. Or so I thought. Here's another one of those things you don't really need, but I built this shelter with wood and a sunshade cell. Metal will interrupt the GPS signal, so make sure if you do this to use thin, non-metallic materials that won't interfere if you want to provide some extra protection when the unit is docked. It's nothing fancy, just a quick shelter wide enough and tall enough to allow it to dock, protect it from the sun, rain, or hail. Here's one that I bought on Amazon. I think it's really supposed to be a dog shelter. It didn't last long, maybe 2 or 3 months, and the sun and the hail got it. I started my first test in the front yard. It's the area I'm most concerned about looking the best, and I had about 2 weeks of growth here, so I figured it would be a good test to see its limits. It navigated the space smoothly, mostly stayed on track, more on that in a bit, and delivered a clean, consistent cut across the yard. I was pretty impressed. Compared to the standard model, I noticed a better cut in the areas that had very tall blades of grass. Next up, I moved over to the field, which is a much tougher challenge. The terrain is uneven, the vegetation is thicker, and it really puts the mower's navigation and cutting power to the test. On the first run, I noticed it left a few unmowed patches behind, right here. After checking the settings, I realized the obstacle avoidance feature was turned on. So this is one of those settings that didn't transfer over, because I definitely had it turned off for the basic mower. I think. The obstacle avoidance is a great safety tool, but in large open areas with no real obstacles, it can make the mower a bit too cautious. And this was the culprit on the few missed spots on the front yard as well. So, for the second run and the obstacle avoidance off, the difference was clear right away. No missed areas and an even cleaner cut than the first pass. Here's a side-by-side comparison of before and after, and you can tell, once the mower gets to its multiple passes, it really starts to look clean. It's been doing so good, I even set it up to mow my neighbor's field too. At his request, of course. Finally, I still had my backyard that needed to be mapped. This is a small area, so I figured this would be a good demo to show how the mapping works, how long it takes, and then show how to kick off a job, and then we'll watch how it turned out. So I just pushed start. You can see it's starting to map. And so what I'm going to do is just drive around the perimeter of my backyard here. So let's try mapping this out real quick. All right, that's close enough, so we'll hit next to finish this. It's going to take us into the settings screen, basically how we want to run the area. So I'm going to do gentle contact. That means anything that hits this bumper down here, it'll just stop. I'm going to take off boundary obstacle avoidance. If there's tall grass, it'll see it as an obstacle and stop, so I've just been taking it off for now. We'll go down to about 2.7, their lowest recommended. I want to do a spiral. This is for the lawnmower. I like to go into the advanced settings and do the boundary first. So it'll start mowing the boundary first. And that looks good, so we'll save this. Say I'm finished. I've already got a pathway in there. So you can see in some of my other parts of my yard, these red circles, that's the no-go zones. So that basically just says do not go there. The reason I'm not gonna do that for my backyard here, these trees, I mean, nothing's gonna hurt it. You can see if I drive this forward, let me get to the remote here. If I drive this forward and my foot's there,
Collision occurred.
I mean, it hardly puts any pressure on it, so I don't think anything's going to get hurt if you just let it kind of touch its way around. So that's it. That's the mapping. Now we'll get the backyard mode. I'm going to hit the schedule for the backyard, tell it to start it. You can preview what it looks like before you start, but I think I'm just going to start it up now. So I didn't put those no-go zones over there, so you'll see it's probably going to run into this tree here. Looks like it sees it. It's going to go slow, touch it, realize something's there, and then maneuver around it. You can see on here it's got something red there, meaning I sense an object, so I'm going to go around it. Usually it'll go a little slower just to make sure that it doesn't hit something. It's just a precautionary movement, I think. You can hear the mower starting up. The blade's starting to run. So we're mowing. All right, let's speed this up. So, how does the Mower Pro stack up against the original Yarbo mower? The Pro has noticeably more power, improved cutting consistency, and the upgraded sensors seem to give it a smarter mow, but it still has room for improvement. I'd like to see a better job of the obstacle avoidance, knowing the difference between tall grass and weeds, or an actual obstacle that you wouldn't want this running into, like your car. And that's good news. I don't think this is a hardware issue, so it's just a matter of time before they push an update that enhances this. The original mower did good as long as the vegetation it was cutting stayed short or thin. Otherwise, it was just too much for the razor blades to cut through. The Mower Pro has more power, so that means more battery draw. However, since it's able to cut through more, I can leave it on the medium speed setting, so it actually completes the job about 35% faster than my basic mower did. I had the basic mower on the slow setting so it had time to make those cuts. I haven't had any issues with the battery life on the Pro. I keep my jobs around 4 to 5 hours, and that seems to be enough on one charge. If you've got thicker vegetation or larger, more challenging areas to cover, the Mower Pro is the stronger option, and to me, worth a few extra $100. But don't let that deter you from the standard mower module. If you have thin grass that doesn't grow quickly, it may be good enough. My backyard has thin grass and it never had a problem cutting that. Check out Yarbo's website. They do a good job asking questions to make sure you get the module that's right for you. And they are quick to answer any questions you may have before you purchase anything if you can't find it on their website. Let's switch the focus to Yarbo overall. They aren't just building a mower, they're building a modular, all-in-one yard system. The next module I'm excited about is the trimmer. It complements the mower module and installs on the back of the core unit. It's basically a weed whacker that will get all those hard-to-reach areas on your perimeters and no-go zones. If you noticed earlier in the video, around the perimeter still had some areas that weren't getting mowed. And that's okay, you don't want it getting too close to houses, plants, things like that. So this will fill that gap. Yarbo also has a leaf blower module. Like the mower, it attaches on the front of the core. Good for rounding up the leaves or grass clippings to end out the season. Then there's the snowblower module, which is a total game changer for winter. Imagine your yard robot clearing your driveway automatically after every snowfall. No shoveling, no hassle. Lastly, the core is the engine behind it all. It's the brains and the brawn. You can connect to it when away from your house or your business, through your local network or Bluetooth. It has a smart vision mode that lets you drive it around when you're not home to check things out. It's not perfect, but offers some level of peace of mind. The core comes with a SAM unit, or a Smart Assist module. This can be used for patrolling and alerts intruders to leave the premises and lets you know it spotted someone as well.
This area is under surveillance. Please move away.
It also has a follow me mode and even towing if you're doing yard work or even moving a boat. I'm only touching on the big stuff here. There's plenty more, so I have to urge you to check out their website. This system truly feels endless when you see all they have to offer, and maybe even where they're going. As you can see, this is all brand new technology, so it requires patience. But here's the thing, Yarbo's team has been incredibly responsive. They're quick to reply to support questions, they push regular updates, and they've shown that they're committed to improving user experience. Their technology is developing rapidly, and there's probably still a bit to go. But if you're a tech buff and these progressions excite you, I think it's worth the experience. And one of my favorite things about Yarbo, besides my lawn being mowed automatically, is their customer service. Now, before I continue, I'd like to say that this video is not sponsored by Yarbo, nor did they give me anything to demo or test out. This is all me and my genuine thoughts on my purchase, including the excitement and the frustrations I've had with it. You've heard a lot about the excitements, so let's talk about some of the frustrations. In the last part of the summer, my core unit quit responding. I tried to figure it out myself with no luck, so I reached out to Yarbo. To my surprise, they quickly said they would send me a replacement core, and I think I got it in a little over a week. My thought at the time was, okay, cool, they're sending me a new unit, but it only lasted a few months. What if this happens again? When I got it, I was happy to see that they had made some important updates to the design, especially the control unit being higher up and away from the ground, away from places where moisture and dirt would collect. This was a bit of a relief, but we'll see how long it lasts going into next year when I'm sure my warranty will most likely be up. Frustration number 2. When I finally got my replacement core, I was anxious to get it back to work since it had been a couple weeks without mowing. After its first run, I started getting obstacle alerts. When I went out to examine it, I realized the PTO shaft had broken on the mower unit, and this also supports it to be level. So this basically meant I would not be able to run it anymore. Again, I reached out to Yarbo and they quickly responded that they would send a replacement part. Unfortunately, this time the part was coming from China, so it took almost 3 weeks to get to me. And then I had to mow manually. My Mower Pro actually ended up coming a couple days before the replacement part. So I got that going, and once I got the part for the basic mower, I swapped it out, and so it's ready to go as a backup mower if I need it. All that sounds very frustrating, right? But I feel like Yarbo had my back, and I think that they understand that if they're going to continue to grow, they have to support it. And when it's working and your entire property is mowed without you having to do much at all, it's a huge time saver. I would spend almost a whole weekend mowing my field, so yeah. So overall, Yarbo is a powerful system that's still evolving. It's not perfect out of the box, but with patience and Yarbo's consistent updates, it's quickly becoming a standout in the smart yard appliance space. If you're looking for a hands-free solution that's part of a growing ecosystem with tons of options like the mower, weed eater, leaf blower, and snow blower, Yarbo is a great investment. And for the money, it is definitely an investment. So the only question left is, do you want to spend the money on it? So far, I'm pleased with my purchases. I wish I would have just waited to buy the Mower Pro, but that's the gamble with technology like this. Do you have a cool yard gadget you'd like to see more on? Let me know in the comments below. So until next time, we'll see you out there. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button and click subscribe. Click the bell icon so you can be notified every Sunday when we release new videos. And as always, thanks for watching.